Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing something new. Today I will be doing a reaction video to a very popular YouTuber here in Japan named Abroad in Japan. And I will be reacting to one of his most popular videos, 12 Things Not to Do in Japan. And if you're new here, to give you a quick introduction of myself, my name is Chris, which is coincidentally his name as well. I'm from Florida, but I've been living in Japan for the past 7+ years. And most of that time I've been living here in Tokyo, but I've also lived around a bit. So anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. Enough of the talk, let's get right into the video.
So walking down the street whilst eating and drinking isn't illegal.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get
Especially with the eating part.
Sherlock Bones. But what you will get is the stare of disapproval. A lot of people don't do this until you get here and never see anyone doing it. What
Yeah.
if someone wants to eat or drink something quickly outside, they'll buy at the convenience store and then eat it or drink it out the front.
That's
Same
true.
with vending machines. If they buy something from the vending machine, they'll drink it there and then next to the vending machine.
Usually they'll eat it inside the convenience store because they'll have like little areas
The streets clean here.
in the
And
convenience
they
store
won't
where you
ruin
can actually eat and
someone,
drink.
by having them walk through your spilled coffee. That said, all you need to do to avoid the stare of disapproval is just stop and eat and drink whatever it is there and then. Maybe it's on a bench, maybe you're just standing at the side of the road, whatever. Just don't walk whilst eating and drinking and you'll be alright.
Alright, real quick, yes, it's kind of a big faux pas. You don't eat and drink while walking here. However, I have seen many people, especially in Tokyo, drink, like maybe they'll buy like a coffee or something, they'll walk and drink it. Definitely not eating so much though. Yeah, that's very true. You don't want to walk and eat. No one's going to tell you to stop it, and you're not going to get stopped by the police or anything, that's true. But it is just not something that people do here. Also, especially on trains, you do not eat and drink on the trains. It's very, 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 very rare that I see people eating and drinking on the trains here, and that would, like on the local trains. And that's usually if like it's a mother and she's just tired and she has a kid and her kid's like talking, so she just puts food in the mouth. But other than that, yeah, good point. Yeah. All right, next. Oh yeah, you don't do that.
3 things to point out here. Number 1, never put your chopsticks upright into the rice, as this is part of a ritual conducted at funerals for offering rice to the spirits of the deceased. Similarly, number 2, never pass things from chopstick to chopstick, because again, this is done during funerals to pass the bones.
I made that mistake within my first couple of years in Japan,
doesn't go down well.
and I was told in a very nice way to please not do that. Yeah.
Thirdly, don't do the rubbing of the chopsticks. You know when you open wooden chopsticks, you like to do that to get rid of the splinters.
I've heard about this from other guys that live here, but I've never seen someone do this. And I've never done it. When I was in America, I've never done this with chopsticks.
Which, let's face it, they probably are. But in fact, they usually definitely are.
Yeah, they are. They do have like cheap wood and chopsticks in most restaurants. Most, not all. Yes! Woo! It is one of the greatest things.
I say 20% automatically.
Oh, God.
Customer service should always be exceptional, with staff giving 120% every time. 120%? 110%?
Love this.
120% would be ridiculous. But it's not necessarily rude to tip someone, it just creates this awkward situation where the worker, the staff would feel like you're assessing their performance and they could potentially lose face. So you might think you're being nice by giving someone a tip, but you're not. You're just creating an uncomfortable situation for the worker, and they'll probably just reject your tip outright. So don't be tempted to do it.
That is true. That is one of the greatest things about living here, is there is no tipping. I actually end up going back to the States every year for Christmas to see my family, and it's almost like a cross-culture shock when I actually go back to America and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I have to tip. I have to pay an extra 20%. That is so nice when you come here. There is just no tipping at all. So you'll get a great service because it's Japan. And yeah, you don't have to worry about a tip. So I do end up eating out a lot as well. Great point. Very nice.
There's a real emphasis on being mindful when you're using public transport in Japan. That's often completely absent in many countries. Numerous of the times that I've been riding a train in the UK and someone nearby has been screaming
I don't know about the UK.
down the phone, and I felt like I was part of the argument, or some kind of unpleasant 4D experience.
We don't got
But given Japan's
too many trains in the
density,
States,
it's
at least in
especially
Florida.
important to be mindful when you're stuffed in a train alongside fellow commuters, many of whom are sleeping as well. With that in mind, don't ever talk on your phone on the train. That's a massive, like, no thing to do here. And even talking loudly.
Yes.
If you're on a local train or a subway train and you get a phone call, just ignore it until you get off. And if you're on a bullet train, you can go to the little compartment in between the carriages and take your call there.
That's true. And that is just like kind of like a guideline. Don't talk on your phone when you're on the train. However, I do see some Japanese people, they do it, especially on the busy trains, like during like rush hour. And I've actually ended up doing it a couple times too. But if you really absolutely have to take a call on the train, definitely like use your softest voices as you possibly can. Like take your phone like this and just talk softly in the phone. But texting and watching videos with the earphones, that's perfectly okay. You can do that all day on the train with no problem. Actually, everybody does. But yeah, just be mindful of your voice, because I've been on trains where it's been packed, like sardines, like you see on the videos where it's so packed and it's so quiet. It is quite astounding to look at, to be in that kind of environment where it's just so packed. There's so like maybe, it feels like 100 people in that one car, but you can hear a pin drop. Definitely be mindful of your voice. Yeah.
I remember for the first few years that I lived here, whenever someone handed me a business card, I was utterly terrified, because until then, business cards to me had always just been a bit of paper or a bit of card with some writing on. But in Japan, they are so much more.
That's true. That is true.
To imagine you've just been handed the lost treasure of El Salvador or something. First,
yeah.
Study it meticulously, the name.
You learn this quickly when living here.
And then either put it in your business card holder,
especially if you're doing any sort of business with,
put it on the table,
like the older generation.
Business cards, or put them in your back pocket, because they're seen as a physical extension of the person themselves, and you don't want to stuff somebody's physical extension down your back pocket. If you're doing business in Japan, always carry business cards. You don't want to be that awkward foreigner who stood there writing out their name and number 50
yep.
back of a tissue.
Yep.
I am usually that awkward
yep, definitely.
Definitely
this has happened.
Because I do forget to bring them, and subsequently, I hate myself when it happens.
This is actually, quick story, this actually happened to me a couple years ago, and I was invited to a party through one of my friends. She has her own like personal yoga instructor business, and she travels between New York City and Tokyo. Anyway, she was invited to a party, and she brought me as a guest. And in this party was like one of the head CEOs of this huge chain in Japan, steak restaurant chains in Japan, and he was at this party, and she introduced me to him, and he pulled out his business card. And in Japan, usually when they pull out the business card, they'll do it with two hands and they'll bow. And I didn't have a business card on me, and I felt incredibly embarrassed at that moment, and because he was expecting one back, and I just had to kind of use the fact that, hey, I'm American, I don't understand the culture, sorry, kind of thing. He said it was okay, but I still felt really bad at that moment. So yes, if you do end up living here, you can get some business cards for yourself. Just anything is okay. You could put like, I'm an English teacher or a marketing associate or engineer, just put something on it. You can even, there's even business card maker at Shinjuku Station, which costs like 800 yen, and you can print out like 500 ones right there and then and there. So having that on you is nice if you're going to be doing any sort of business here. But yeah, I think the younger generation though is kind of like, they're not big into it. But if you're coming here for like the older generation, people that are like 40 plus, it's definitely good to have. Yeah.
Standard procedure here is just to keep sniffing, or just to find a toilet with broom cupboards behind it. Blowing noses in public is pretty rude. Interestingly though, handkerchiefs are pretty popular here. Not in the way you would think though. People use them to wipe sweat off in the hot summer weather, or even more commonly to dry their hands in public toilets. Because surprisingly, many public toilets in Japan don't have any hand drying facilities, despite having space.
A good amount of them do. It has become more popular though.
It's quite a weird contrast that I don't quite understand.
Yes, definitely the blowing your nose in public. No one does that, not that I've seen in my 7+ years here. So, and actually there's a lot of like allergy seasons here, especially during the spring and the fall. Actually, I have some allergies right now in the fall. So you just end up sniffling, especially while wearing a mask because of the corona. You just end up sniffling in your mask, and then you just go to the bathroom, blow your nose real quick. Throughout like the streets of Tokyo, they'll be handing out free tissues. And in those tissues, it's just like advertisements. So it's just like kind of their marketing style, like older style business marketing. But they'll give you tissues, so you can get a thing of tissues, use it, blow your nose, be fine. The handkerchief thing, that is good for the summer. Yeah, they don't use the handkerchief to blow their nose at all. They use it mainly, that I see it, is during the summer to wipe off the sweat or to kind of just your body. And so I actually have a couple handkerchiefs. I was given to them by my students working at a private high school because it's kind of seen as a gift to give, I guess. But it was nice, so. All right, next. My nose. Don't get physical.
Physical contact in Japan isn't really a thing. You'll bow
Yes.
enthusiastically daily. But occasionally you might shake hands with someone if they're a good friend or a business client that you get on well with. But generally I avoid it unless someone makes the first move. And hugging in particular doesn't go down well. You're just met with expressions of awkwardness and despair. And also amongst couples, public displays of affection are phenomenally rare here. So don't be surprised if you get the stare of disapproval if you're kissing your partner frantically in the street.
Okay, a couple things here. First, about the don't get physical. For Japanese people, that is very true. I often hear, because I do like to talk with a lot of my colleagues, Japanese colleagues, and a lot of the guys, after they graduate high school, they never even hug or touch their mother again. It's not even within the family. So it's very not physical, the physicality is not there. However, at the same time, when I meet these guys, they always are amazed that, like, when I meet with my other foreign friends, how we give each other like bro hugs or like cool handshakes. They're always like, they want to do it. And so like when I show them, they're like, oh yeah, they feel like it's cool. They like it a lot. So it's not that they don't want to, they just don't know really. It seems that many, not all, I don't want to generalize here, which I already am. So they don't really know how to be as physical as Westerners. So it's just the culture here. But it doesn't mean that they don't want to be. And the physical affection they do in public, that is actually becoming more common as I see with a younger generation. I feel that social media and stuff like that within this younger generation is really kind of molding the minds and changing, because it's the world's becoming smaller, so they're able to see how people around the world are like being more physical and showing affection to each other in public. So I think it's becoming a bit more common. Like I see more people holding hands, kissing, maybe hugging their partners. So, but yeah, good point, good point.
And I think that it should definitely be this. If you're the sort of person who feels the need to have a debate or an argument about things, or throw your opinions out there constantly, people will find you obnoxious and dislikable and probably just avoid you. Embedded heavily within the culture is this idea of keeping harmony and avoiding conflict.
This is very true.
It's a lot easier to do that when people aren't at each other's throats, throwing around opinions. Sometimes it can be frustrating when people are just unwilling to speak their minds or give you a clear yes or no answer. I mean, one time, one of my colleagues when I was teaching, I asked him, do you have any pets? And he said to me, maybe my cat is dead. Maybe your cat is dead. What does that mean? Is it dead or is it not dead? It's not Schrodinger's cat, is it? It turned out the cat was definitely dead, but he was just the sort of person that always liked to use the word maybe and just not express certainty. But if there's one reason I've never seen a fight anywhere in Japan in the last 5 years, it's probably this reason. That people are a lot more careful about expressing their opinions and holding back what they really think.
That is so true. It's very hard for them to express their opinions. However, when I've been working with my colleagues, many of them want to learn how to express their opinions more openly. And so it's becoming a wave of changes coming through that I've noticed with many Japanese people every time I talk to them, is that they're kind of worried about sharing their opinions, but they want to be able to share their opinions more openly. They see it as Westerners. We just you'll have like a discussion in public, like when we're out with friends, and like even though we can disagree with each other, we're still friends, and they like that idea because they feel that if you disagree, you can't be friends sometimes. So it is a change that they want to be able to express their opinions more. It's just having trouble doing it. But yeah, that's true. You will not find many Japanese too opinionated.
Yeah, couldn't be bothered to film that one. Everyone seems to know this one already.
Shoes.
When visiting
Yeah.
someone's house or entering a public building like a school or going
Yep.
to a hot spring, you take off your shoes
Yep.
and switch to slippers before you go in. The easiest
Yep,
way
yep.
of knowing if you have to change your shoes is there'll be a change in elevation in the floor. So when you go in, there'll be a little stair, and that's when you know. This is the one thing on the list where failing to stick to the rules will have noticeable results. A few years ago, a friend and I visited a public bathhouse in Kyoto, and we went in, and you're supposed to take your shoes off. For some reason, he didn't. I don't know why. I don't think he noticed or saw. There was a little old woman sitting behind the entrance counter where you kind of pay, and when we walked in, she saw that he still had his shoes on, and she shot up with terrifying energy and ran over, grabbed him and took him to the front and was like, "Get your shoes off, get your shoes off." And that image has stayed burnt into my mind. This quiet little old woman suddenly becoming so alive and animated by this.
This is the situation, yeah. They will tell you to take off your shoes. This happened a couple times with me. Walking to school, they'll tell you immediately, please take off your shoes. This.
For whatever reason,
Yes.
rubbish bins and trash cans are disturbingly rare in Japan.
Yeah, so rare.
Convenience stores, it can be a nightmare to find one. And the reason I put this on the list is because so many people, so many of you guys message me on Twitter saying, "I'm in Tokyo and I can't find a bin, what should I do?" I've wandered through Tokyo for up to 20 minutes sometimes, just in search of a bin and can't find one. The streets though, despite that, are shockingly clean here, because people, they can't find a bin, they just take the rubbish home with them. It can feel like some kind of mini game sometimes, going in search of a bin, because when you do find a bin, you feel a real sense of achievement. But despite that, don't be tempted to litter. Just keep trying, and you'll find a bin one day.
Oh god, that's so true. That's so, you will not find many bins out here at all. Not at all. So yeah, just be mindful of that, and maybe if you go to like a convenience store or somewhere, if you can get like a plastic bag, just in case, you can put your trash and keep it in the bag and hold the bag, so you're not actually carrying the trash in your hand. That's what I've learned.
Seems like a fairly obvious addition to the list, and yet in the UK we just cross the street whenever the hell we want, whenever there's an opening.
Yeah, but I've seen
Same as many countries.
quite a few Japanese people do this.
People do not cross the road on a red light. It's incredibly rare, and it's one of the greatest ways of seeing this sense of order and obedience to the law that exists.
Yeah.
If you stand at a roadside in
It
Japan,
depends on the road in Tokyo. If it's a small,
any cars whatsoever,
if it's a small road, people will kind of cross it on the road.
over the years of the many friends I've had come to visit me here, this is the thing
Japanese
that
people.
shocks them the most. The idea of not crossing the street.
But a big road, like a long road,
The idea
yeah,
of
not at
abiding
all.
by a rule.
They're gonna stay until that light turns.
And yet, for me personally, the main reason I abide by it is after a few years of being here, you don't want to stand out. You don't want to be this stereotypical rule-breaking foreigner. And as well as that,
That's
you
true.
don't want to run the risk of getting caught out by the police. So those
That's
are
true.
two things worth taking into consideration before you
Yeah.
dash across the seemingly empty road. And the last one, don't worry about not knowing anything about Japanese etiquette when you come to Japan.
Stop. Yeah. Stop that real quick. Yeah, it's, how do I say? If it's a small road at night, people will cross it all the time, even if it's red, if it's like one lane. But if it's a big road, yeah, they'll always wait for the light, and yeah.
As I said earlier in this video, there aren't going to be any real consequences to not following any of these things,
Don't worry.
apart from maybe the footwear one. That's quite scary. You don't want to get dragged off by another woman. The reason I say don't worry too much is because I find a lot of people come here and they're very nervous and very anxious about following the etiquette they don't really comprehend. And that includes even me. When I came here, I didn't know anything. And I was constantly anxious and nervous that I was making mistakes. But really, as a foreigner in Japan, you get kind of a free pass to make mistakes. People are understanding and they're kind and they will let you off. So don't become too nervous about following all the rules. Do your best, but don't become a nervous wreck.
Yep.
So those are my 12 things.
That is true. It kind of comes with an expectation a lot of Japanese people have with foreigners, that they don't understand the culture here, and they'll give you a free pass with a lot of things. However, try not to take that to the extreme and be like, oh, they're going to give me a free pass with no matter what, so I'm just going to break everything, all the laws, just because I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a foreigner, I don't know. Because I know people have done that. I've personally done that a few times in my first few years in Japan, which, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, but I try now to be a better person. But yeah, they'll give you a free pass. It's not too bad. But that shoe thing, yeah, that is very true. They will come at you with the shoe thing. And crossing red if it's like a big road. Sometimes the police will stop you. But yeah, very nice. All in all, I really agree with the points. Again, something that I see that's very common is a lot of changes are happening now with the younger generation. Students that are growing up with like TikTok, other social media aspects where they can obviously see other people around the world and how their culture is, especially Western culture. And so they're getting an idea of how they do things over there. And so they're kind of becoming more open-minded, more open about, you know, different things. So it is slowly changing, but these are really good tips of things not to do. So overall, great video. But yeah, that's it. If you guys enjoyed this reaction video, please let me know. I can do more reaction videos, depending on whatever video you want me to. I actually enjoyed this. All in all, great. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day or night wherever you are. And as always, peace.